Okay.
No.
Here we go.
So, of course, guys, the big news over the weekend, you probably heard about it. All right, that's right. Bam Margera is missing. Okay, he apparently escaped from a rehab place in Florida.
So, I hope he's okay.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, who he peed on.
I don't want you to come in here and pee on your dad.
Also, I never knew this. Is Bam short for something? Bamford? Bamhurst? Bamhurst. So we hope you're okay, Bamhurst. Okay? Get yourself together, you piece of shit, you idiot.
Protests erupting nationwide.
Reaction from both sides to the Supreme Court's landmark ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. Demonstrators gathering at the Supreme Court, those in favor of abortion rights, at times facing off against many celebrating the justice's decision.
Disgusting.
Those protests spanning the entire country today, most of them peaceful, as 8 states already moved to make abortion illegal. Overnight, officers firing tear gas to break up a large crowd outside the Arizona State Capitol.
All right, guys, let's cut the crap. If you don't know, the primary purpose of this crap is it's mostly a health. I call it a health and wellness podcast, okay? And, it's sort of Jordan Peterson kind of crap. I just wanted to give a little advice for men and women and all in between and all you motherfuckers out there. If you're on Bumble and you see this, look, move on, I would say. That's a safe bet. That's the safest bet. Move on. If you see that stare, swipe left there is a way to remember. If they look like they never blink, don't meet up for a drink. That's another one to remember. That's another saying to remember. Okay, guys, so over the weekend, some perverts in robes did something stupid. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the reactions of our favorite morons, some of our favorite morons. And then we'll go like this.
That organization is Live Action. Lila's joining us on the line right now. Lila, go for it. How are you doing?
I love you.
I'm doing very well, Ben. What a morning. What a day. It's surreal.
You're beautiful.
It is. I mean, it's an amazing thing. As I was just concluding there, when it comes to what happens next, the answer is we get active, because really your job starts now. I mean, for a lot of people, a lot of politicians who promised that they were pro-life. Roe versus Wade was a convenient excuse to not do very much. Well, now Roe versus Wade is gone, and so now it's actually up to them to do something.
Listen, this is a historic moment. We all feel it. We know it. Even today, there are abortion clinics closing because of this decision, because of the overruling of Roe v. Wade. So there are children that were scheduled to be killed today by abortion that will live instead. And by the end of the day, there will likely be
Okay, so if you don't know who this woman is, her name's Lila Rose.
She's my girlfriend.
She's another right-wing scammer who was doing this thing where she would basically, I don't know how else to describe it, but she would prank Planned Parenthood, where she would go in and she would be basically I'm being sex trafficked, or I'm a sex worker, and the pimp is telling me I have to get an abortion. And she's like, Look, they do that. Abortions for them. Which is funny because in one of those pranks, Planned Parenthood actually called the FBI. So she's like, they allow this. They're helping that's her whole thing. They're helping sex traffickers. Yeah, they called the FBI. Okay, so that's who she is. She's a scammer who's been making the rounds. We'll see on every right wing, Tucker Carlson, that's on Tucker, that's on YouTube Carlson. She's just been making the rounds. She's a media vulture. This is a very weird look for Ben Shapiro, because his whole thing, and he says this in other videos where he's like,
states decide. This is just about states. It's not even a big deal. Calm down.
But then at the same time, in this video, he's nodding his head along, and he's saying, yes.
When it comes to what happens next, the answer is we get active, because really your job starts now.
And this woman is saying, now the work just begins. Well, why would the work now just begin? All these states have laws that, quote unquote, trigger laws that go into effect. Okay, you're not allowed to have an abortion anymore. That's, your work is pretty much done, actually, I think. Unless you whack job, you nuts, you idiots, you social media parasites are looking for we're going for a federal ban. Or to trick their moronic audience in that they're going to be, quote unquote, working on a federal ban. Either way.
So there are children that were scheduled to be killed today by abortion that will live instead. And by the end of the day, there will likely be a dozen states where laws will have gone into effect that protect children.
So this might be kind of interesting to look at here. The Guttmacher Institute, which is like I think a pro-choice kind of, they keep tabs on all this abortion stuff. They got a pretty good map here of the U.S. Supreme Court overturns of the 26 states that are certain or likely to ban abortion. All right, you see this map? Whoa, wow, whoa. Even the state that Margera is lost in.
So unfortunate for me. I believe in life begins at the first twinkle in the eye.
Pretty much in all these states that's banning it, there's a state that you could drive a state or a couple of states over to get an abortion. And that's exactly what's happening in the test case, which is Texas. The University of Texas did a study on this. Out-of-state abortions obtained by Texas residents, September to December. Before SB 8, that was the one that's like, ooh, it's kind of, you're going to have a hard time getting an abortion in Texas. There was 514 out-of-state abortions. After they passed that, 5,574. So there's your answer to what this is actually going to do. People go out of state. So congratulations, women who, have to work. They're going to have to miss work and maybe get fired for doing a medical procedure. Or the other thing that I was thinking is like, okay, let's say if you live in a red state and they ban, I think half of abortions are done by pill. You could just get a pill, you take the pill, done. So now they're going to ban the abortion pill. If that's legal in these states, so then, okay, I drive to Colorado, I cross the state line, take a pill, maybe, go to the bathroom or whatever, go to Hop Dottie or some crap, and then go back. I didn't take the pill here, technically. I mean, this is just so stupid and so goofy that you could tell in this dead-eyed dullard's face that even she isn't stupid enough, and I think probably Ben Shapiro isn't stupid enough to believe that this is going to have nobody does this anymore. Also, this is sort of funny. Just while I was looking around at this stuff, I found a pretty interesting poll here. This is from May 2022. Poll shows majority of Texas voters would oppose overturning Roe v. Wade. So basically, I guess the people who are deciding this kind of crap, voter-wise, are people who are, I need to get my truck back.
So like you're saying, our work is just getting started.
Okay.
We're going to work state by state for legal protections, and then we've got to do cultural change. And we have to keep on urging the Supreme Court to take a final step towards justice here and assert that there is a constitutional right to life for all children.
Whoa.
Yeah, that final step, it seems, frankly, based on the majority opinion, seems unlikely, mainly because, Justice Kavanaugh he writes in his concurrence that he believes that any law, a state law that prevented somebody from visiting another state in order to obtain an abortion would be presumptively illegal. So you don't even have a majority opinion.
That's why Benny Shapino's crap makes no sense. He's like, we got so much work.
We got work to do now. We got so much work to do.
No, you don't. There's a bunch of trigger laws, okay? Abortion is banned in this crap now.
We got a lot of work to do now.
Like what?
Harassing women, I guess, outside of the abortion places. But you morons, living out there in the middle of nowhere, somehow you got an internet connection. Go out there on behalf of me, you morons.
We got so much work to do, totally banning abortion, but that can't happen.
I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. I feel as crazy as Bam Margera when he escaped from that.
Just madness. Just the ramblings of insane morons, these people. These good. Look at that. This is another, again, this is a health podcast.
Roe versus the overturning of Roe versus Wade is a historic, excellent day for the country. It's a historic, excellent day for the protection of the.
It's a historic, excellent day. I'm doing things that no one wants.
For the country, it is a historic, excellent day for the protection of the unborn.
Huh?
And again, all it does is it means that we are now more responsible.
Okay.
Those of us who care about unborn human life. It is our job now.
Right.
We no longer get to blame the Supreme Court for not doing anything. The Supreme Court did what it should have done originally.
Right. Still
which
over.
is leave this up to the people of the United States.
Yeah, it's over.
That is an unfettered, unmitigated good today.
Well, that's one way to put it. I would say it's unfettered, unmitigated stupidity and nonsense that even if you do a peruse of any data on this or information is a complete and total disaster and stupid. But, tomato, Ben. Also, can somebody tell me what's going on here?
lost. That's when it was illegitimate. Nancy Pelosi, by the way, continued.
Okay.
She was saying that, of course, things are super duper terrible and terrible and no good and very bad.
Right.
Also,
okay.
Okay.
You all right?
The reactions are pouring in fast and furious, and we are sort of reacting in real time to them.
Couldn't have redone that segment? Couldn't have put in the couple minutes to redo that segment? You all right? You lazy bastard, you?
Oh! What a pervert.
I think that there should be a cutoff date at which the...
This has been on TikTok.
I gotta be on TikTok and all this crap, too.
At which the fetus becomes a viable fetus, where if it were to be preterm, it would be able to survive. I think that should be that's a good compromise between the left and the right. I just wanted to know your thoughts about that.
Yeah, it's hard to make a compromise on the basis of viability simply because viability is such a vague standard. First,
right, like life. Like, when does life begin? Whoops, moron, idiot.
Oh! When I look at this news, I start having an anxiety attack.
I don't care. I just say stuff. I'm a jazz guy.
Proposing, which is many pro-abortion advocates proposing, is eugenics. This is eugenics. It's the strong should kill the weak are worthless, and because the preborn are an unpopular minority, they want to oppress them, and they want to kill them. And that's why we need rule of law to protect these children.
Take it easy.
Yeah, she's making the Nazi argument. I mean, just flat out.
Tucker,
they're a burden to society. It'd be better if they didn't exist. I'm sorry we didn't get to kill them earlier. I mean, how is Marty McCary is at Johns Hopkins University of Public Health. He joins us tonight.
Probably normal.
Doctor, thanks so much for coming on. It'd be interesting to kind of take the politics out of it, Roe v. Wade out of it, whether it should be legal or not out of it. Just to the science of it. We know that children in utero, fetuses, whatever you call them, the developing human being in utero feels pain, correct?
That's right, Tucker. Somewhere between 15 and 20 weeks, babies...
We actually have a recording of that. This is a fetus. Well, let me play this.
That's right, Tucker. Somewhere between 15 and 20 weeks, babies will actually resist the instruments of abortion. Now, Roe is based on viability, but...
Yeah, that seems true. That really resonates with me. That really hits home with me because, as you guys know, I go to town, various community centers and kindergartens, and I share my story. And I share my story that, my mom was like, I'm not interested in having this kid. So she tried to abort my little ass, and I was doing rolls, I was doing MMA, So, much like the way that these people are like, school shooting happens to kids, we need to train them to do karate and the teachers to do karate and all this. I think it's the same. These feti are under threat. So, you know how they say, like, pregnant mothers, they should put, like, Beethoven crap up against... You hear... If the fetus hears Beethoven, it's becomes smarter, okay? I think instead of doing that, they should play, like, Out for Justice, Hard to Kill... All these Steven Seagal movies. Hard to Kill that's a good, because of the name, But also, like, maybe some Jackie Chan's Drunken Master.
Oh, I'm going to call the police.
So then, if they try to abort that baby, he could die, The other thing about that's interesting is, 50% of abortions happen with a pill that you could take. It's interesting that the baby will be like, oh, she took a pill, and then the baby will start sort of like punching the pill molecules. Like, no, he'll wait. You'll see they've actually done sonograms where you see the baby's like, no, he's like, no, I don't want. He's shoo. Oh hell yeah! Let's see what the mayor of Chicken City has to say about this. You all right? You okay?
All right. So this is typically I don't film these actually live. I don't do live streams on this channel, but this news is so big. That's what we're doing the show. And this is one of the biggest stories of our generation. One of the biggest stories of the past 2 generations. Roe v. Wade has been overturned by the Supreme Court. We knew this was coming.
Whoa!
But it extends beyond just what we expected.
You're an idiot.
First, let me say, a bold move overturning Roe v. Wade on a Friday morning. Churches.
Tim Pool's the master of just like, nope, nothing. It's a bold move. What does that mean?
Have been warned about the night of rage. Over 20 pro-life targets have been vandalized. Pregnancy centers, which just provide resources for expecting mothers, have been firebombed.
It's a very interesting way he's presenting this. A bold move, and then pro-life crap is in trouble. I'm not a right-winger, though. And I'm definitely not pandering for super chats, that's for sure. Also, I did this for the first time ever, but I actually watched Tim Pool's super chats, his chats, and woo boy. Oh boy, is that a sewer garbage dump. One of the quotes, let me see if I can find one of the quotes that I thought was Jews mad was one of them. And I would say, if I were Tim Pool, he makes millions of dollars from doing this, I would say, not worth it. The minute I would see Jews mad or anything like that in my chat, yep, time to become a mechanic or something like this. Nope. The other thing is look at the way this guy dresses. This is another problem. Look at the way this guy dresses. If you're doing something purely for money, you're gonna just sell out all your morals for money. Let's have a little style, bro. He should be coming out in a fur coat. It says Supreme on it or some crap. He's got the gold chain, the Furby gold chain from Uncut Gems. Let's at least spice up the beanie. Let's get a diamond beanie. A Gucci, get a Gucci or Prada beanie.
Clarence Thomas, who asked the petitioner, asked the pro-abortion side, where in the Constitution does it say you have a right to abortion? And the response was the 14th Amendment, equal access under the law. Clarence Thomas said, look, when I look at the Constitution, I see the Second Amendment. It says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Doesn't say abortion.
Yeah, this is another classic Tim Poolism, is to say something that within the thing that you're saying, it destroys what the point you're trying to make. Where he's like, this reading of the 14th Amendment to protect abortion doesn't make sense. But the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, that does make sense. It says it. Right, but you're leaving out the entire first part of the Second Amendment, which shows that you're looking at it the way you want to. The exact way you're saying is wrong with the 14th Amendment. Classic Tim.
I'm wondering if this is, what do you think? Is this going to be the galvanizing issue that the left think it's going to be?
Okay.
Well, first, there are already Republicans talking about outlawing the pill as well, and many of these states will, and even whether they specifically outlaw the pill, it'll still be a crime. We're not going back to 1973. We're going back to 1931 and before.
This is where I notice my brain doing something interesting, where it's like, oh man, I agree with that guy. I'm on his side, Paul Begala. That's where I get the impression of this is kind of working out perfectly for everybody. They're just like, guys, let's compress our view of the world to the middle, guys. Come on. No more of this Bernard Sanders stuff. No more, come on.
Consistent national opinion on everything, and we go crazy.
We're not talking about opinions. We're talking about laws.
Well, the problem is that the pendulum is swinging further and further to the left and the right. So every time the right passes some draconian bill, whether it is about abortion or trans kids or something like that, the left goes and does the opposite. What? There's no center.
There's no center.
There's
which you write about often.
Look, I don't know who this person is. Katie Herzog? I don't know who this is, but that sounds crazy to me. She's like, the pendulum swinging so far to the left, and it seems to me like the pendulum is just keeps going further right. What left swing is the pendulum doing? Yeah, where's that? We're waiting on that left swing. When's that coming? It sounds like this. Oh, wow. But as much as Bill Maher's show is kind of unwatchable, speaking of the mayor of Chicken City, Tim Pool, I kind of agree with this.
I don't know. Half the country, I read last week in a poll, thinks they will see a civil war in their lifetime.
Whoa.
That half, I think a lot of them see a civil war or rooting for one. I think a lot of them are actually rooting for it.
See a civil war or rooting for one?
You know, I'm too stupid to realize that that's why Tim Pool talks about civil war all the time, because his viewers, you know, who are either out in the middle of nowhere or they're a 13-year-old living in the basement or whatever. But yeah, kind of a lot of these resentful people. You look down on me. You think you're better than me. You went to college or whatever. Yeah, we're gonna get you. It's a fantasy that he like stokes up. You know, maybe Tim Pool, maybe you could go back to school. You know, you could study beanie repair or something, some crap. Maybe he could go to that school, I can't remember the name of the school, where you can create your own major. His major could be a study of the coolest bald people who have ever lived. Michael Jordan, Breaking Bad, the guy from Smashing Pumpkins, Jason Statesman.
All right, guys, God damn it, Jesus Christ.
Since we're doing a tour of our favorite morons, you know who we gotta do. We gotta do a Chuck check.
Chuck check, Charleston check. He's a Chuck check, Chucky check.
That's right, Charlie Kirk. Here he is. Let's take a look at him.
I want to make a point here, and we'll build this out in the coming hour, which this needs to kind of, I think this is a great stimulus and a great shot in the arm in a very positive way.
What are you talking about?
About this broader parents movement, about showing up to school board meetings, caring about your children, protecting them in the womb. This is something that I think is but I want this to be a broad movement where we're talking about all the other positive things we could do for the well-being of our children.
Yep.
Better schools, pushing back against CRT, no chemical castration.
Yeah, hell yeah. Charlie Kirk's the best, you know, because this is a lot of like, you know, leftist argument against, you know, forcing people to give birth and stuff. They're like, hey, look, there's only one way that you could really kind of convince people to have kids, and that's to, you know, create an ecosystem, you know, create a lot of supports for people who want to have kids, you know, child tax credits, and invest lots and lots of money into public schools so that, you know, they're great, you know, make sure that the parents have money, jobs programs, all this communist, disgusting communist, pinko, Maoist, many call it, crap. That's how you do it. And Charlie Kirk's like, yeah, right. We got to make things better for the families, like no CRT. no CRT and no trans. That's how we support the families. Yeah, right, but I don't have any money. Yeah, right, exactly. No CRT. Damn Charleston Chew, Kirk. What else can we do to, you know, encourage people to have more kids, to support families? What else can we do?
But today, as we look at the repeal of Roe versus Wade, the overturning of Roe versus Wade, there's a deeper point that I want to make with you here that you're not going to hear on cable television. The deeper point is this. Anything we want to do is possible.
Yes.
We can build the wall.
Praise God.
We can have deportations of illegals. We can ban drag queens from being exposed to children in bars. We can have
Charleston Kirk really facing the big things that one of the biggest issues that faces families and normal people, people in costumes dancing. You know, I'm down 15, 20 grand from having a kid because, you know, we don't have that in this country. But what really irks me is that there's someone somewhere wearing a costume and wearing makeup dancing to Selena. That makes me... I really do. With Charlie, I really do wonder how much of this stuff he really believes, because I really get the feeling, I've watched, you know, hours and hours of his stuff, and I really get the feeling none of it. The way that he talks seems very like he went to a public speaking class kind of stuff. Like his brain, he's just got mush up there. He's just got mashed potatoes for brains, this idiot. It's Monday, guys. We hate it. You know, I want to abort Mondays. One easy thing we could do to try to help out, and something that I'm going to do, I'm going to donate some money, I'm going to cough it up, is donate to these abortion funds.
I'm still learning and figuring out how this works, but I'll put a link below. You can look up it.
But that's an easy way to help out. And guys, happy Monday. Love you so much. Hope you're doing good.
And as always, Bye-bye.
Hey guys, you're only getting a fraction of the weekly shows. If you want a new motherfucking episode every day, subscribe on Patreon for as little as 2 bones. You get the patron-only Tuesday and Thursday shows, the Bookablega show where we look at important books, and the goddamn weekly behind-the-scenes show. And for only 25 bones, you could become a producer and get your name up here. Look at these people. These people make this show possible. If it wasn't for them, nothing. We don't have a show. We got nothing, and it's garbage. And we have to just leave. We have to just basically walk away. And we don't even really know where we're walking. That's the truly troubling part about all this. But please, become a patron today for as little as 2 bones, or 5 bones is another level, or 10, or you go the full 25 and you get up here. Big special thanks to these people. Love you guys so much.